Hold on. Whoa. Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Black Wealth Project. Say hello to the Black Wealth team. We got Jimmy, Corey, Malik, Courtney, and Tracy today. Sadly to say, well, not sadly to say, but today's conversation will be about who should fund the movement. But before I was about to say, sadly to say, yet another Black man has been killed at the hands of police. I want to send a rest in peace to a Mr. Rashad Brooke, who died recently in Atlanta. Another tragedy, another innocent Black man died uselessly or unnecessarily, rather, should I say. But how's everybody doing tonight?
Man. I was excited about the show. You kind of like brought the energy down, but you had, but
we had to go there.
Yeah, but that's necessary.
I had to, man.
That's necessary.
It's crazy, but you know what? I wanted to say, let's do a moment of silence for him, real quick.
Absolutely.
Let's do a quick moment of silence. All right, so how's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'm chilling, relaxing, maxing. Yeah. I'm in the wagon, as y'all call it.
Yeah, you back to the regular office.
Yeah, back to the office.
Ladies, how are y'all, Tracy and Courtney?
I'm great. I mean, good. I'm personally okay, but every time I hear another life taken, it just takes the wind out of you. Like it's like somebody punches you in the chest. So like I'm good, but again, like just dealing with that, it's just like
it's heavy. It's like wearing a weight vest.
Yep,
it's heavy. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
A weight vest that you ain't built to carry.
Yeah.
And you kind of get ready for it as you go along. Tracy, how are you?
I'm good. I mean, for me personally and business wise, like the changes with Pennsylvania going into partially green, partially yellow, my business is super booming and picking up, but I just feel like super motivated from a standpoint of like, we really need to get this together because it's time. And I feel a lot more of a purposeful pushing and motivation of, all right, y'all, what we doing?
Well, Tracy, I'm gonna need some of that energy from you. So you want to be like my pep coach from.
Okay, I got you.
It's heavy out here in the streets.
It is. It's heavy. It is.
Mr. CoveredCallCarter, Malik Carter, how are you?
I'm okay, man. I'm just out here. I just came from another B.O.B. I came from Chica Boom. They opened up on Lancaster Avenue. So I was trying them out.
Yes, they did.
Seeing that's about so, and said to say that no, I'm not eating healthy. I'm not doing that right now. I'm eating a chicken sandwich, so a fried chicken sandwich at that, from Chica Boom.
All right.
Yo, man. Okay. Way to show love, man, but don't have a heart attack in the process, dog. Like you really out there.
No. Listen, I've been doing actually pretty good. My wife making me solids, and we doing chickpeas.
So that's why you snuck out the crib to go bust that move.
Yeah, we thought you was out there doing Grubhub or what? He's like that. Never stops.
Yeah, nah, she held me down, man. So like like today she had a real nice salad, and I had some backyard kale. My kale is sprouting, so I had a couple pieces of that today too. So I'm really proud of that backyard kale.
Okay. That's the green thumb.
That's fire.
So Malik, you covered two things at once. You covered your check-in and your health check-in.
Yeah, all at one time. You gotta be more efficient.
Absolutely. All right, health check-in, everybody. Anybody do any movement? Drink plenty of water this week. Eat good. What's going on?
Listen, man, I personally had an amazing week, man. So, I told y'all last week that I had signed up back up for Weight Watchers. So I lost 8 pounds since last show.
Oh
I
man,
lost 8. I lost 8 pounds since last show.
Virtual fist bump.
Yeah, fist bump. Virtual fist. Yo, and I got a 7. Actually, right now, 8-day streak on Peloton. So, you know, I'm you know, shout to Peloton.
You making those moves?
You moving?
I'm trying, man. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to get some more years of compound interest, man. Like, you know, it's all about the compound interest.
Yeah. How about that?
What's up with you, Corey? You down south? You getting any movement in?
Yeah, man. Man. I got about 8 miles in on the track. And I got up about 1,000 jump shots this week, man. Like playing with my kids.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? I ain't really do none of the other extra stuff, man. I just did some stretching so I ain't fall out on the court while I was playing with my kids, and I got some miles in walking on the track, you know, by myself. So, but I ain't really, you know, all that eating healthy stuff. I eat fruit and I drink a lot of water. No, I eat fruit and drink a lot of water regularly. Like I'm fat because I don't exercise. It's not really because I don't eat properly, because I don't really like a lot of fried stuff, and I really don't eat a lot of that stuff. But I just, you know, I probably eat that like once or twice a week.
Did anybody catch Courtney's face just now?
What did I do?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, she trying to call me out on something? I missed something?
I didn't.
No, she didn't, but she can't help it.
I mean, you know, 15 years of sedentary life, that, you know, that'll stack some pounds on you.
Absolutely.
It snuck up on me until it wasn't sneaky no more.
Right. What about you, Tracy? How do you make out this week?
I'm moving around all week, so up and down steps and in and out of cars. I'm right in busy season, so I'm always counting my steps and getting my steps in. We were supposed to connect the steps stuff too.
I can't believe you're still showing houses. That's not even safe right now. I'm not out here and that's no people.
These houses are vacant, and most of these sellers, they leave in the houses because they don't want to be in there when we in there anyway. So it's not bad.
All right, that's good. That's good. What about you, Courtney? I know you kind of big.
I'm always with the Peloton. I've been with the Peloton. I'm in my 2nd month of Power Zone training. Today, I trained with an Olympic biker, I guess. He was amazing. That was great. And I eat pretty well. I'm still keto, and you know, this week I weighed in. I'm down 55 pounds, so that's awesome. I'm really excited about that. Thank you. So
Nice.
I need to go see my doctor for my yearly check-in, just to say, hey, what's going on? Checking the blood pressure, checking the A1C, making sure everything is copacetic. So that is on my schedule for this week to check in there, and we're just rocking and rolling.
All right. So I finally got my bike out the shop. I got some road work in on Friday. I got about 6 miles. Yo, that bike ain't no joke. That's a whole other thing. It puts a lot of wear and tear on a lot of other body parts too.
I love the bike, man. I love the bike.
Have you gotten biker shorts?
No, I haven't gotten biker shorts.
You
When
probably
say
do
biker
that.
shorts, I flash back to like 89, 90.
Get the little hat with the flip up on the top.
So I got to wear a Hawaiian shirt too.
Nah, I got the padded biker shorts, man. Add some padding to that butt on the bike.
Okay, that'll be.
Yeah, you need that, dog.
Yes, I'm gonna need something. All right, so moving right along, just wanted to say hello to everybody. Mr. Chris Patton Walker saying hello from the UK. What's up, brother Walker?
Yo,
What's good, Chris? How are you?
Hey, Chris.
Sean Fleming gave a message to Corey, said, come get some miles with me, Corey, when you get back. Hello to you, Sean. How you doing? Thanks for joining us.
I got you, Slim.
And Nadia Jackson Merritt just chimed in and said hello to everybody. Hello to you, Nadia. I hope I said your name.
Hey, Nadia, how are you?
Hi.
All right, so we're at the next section, the Bob of the Week. So this week's Bob of the Week is being brought to us by Tracy. And Tracy, I am going to bring up the current Bob of the Week. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. This Black-owned business of the week is Bare Hand Love Cuisine. He is a locally homegrown Philadelphia, Pottstown, by way of Pottstown resident. And he actually went to Temple University, and he also played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he is now bringing food to your homes and to your hearts with all kinds of cuisine, from seafood boils to chicken and waffles. He does catering for a lot of celebrities and entertainers and athletes. But he's super, super local, and he's definitely a Black-owned business that you should support. So check him out on Instagram at Bare Hand Love Cuisine.
Now, Tracy, do you have a favorite thing from that gentleman?
I'm probably going to say his shrimp and grits.
Mhm.
Shrimp and grits. That's it.
That's probably my favorite.
Okay. All right. We'll be sure to spread the word about him.
Check him out.
Yeah, Camari, I wanted to share that with everyone, is that he actually did my mom's 70th birthday, her quarantine dinner. We had it Friday. Her birthday was Thursday, but we had it Friday, and it was delicious. We had
Happy birthday.
legs.
Yeah, well, hold on. We gotta give happy birthday shout outs to grandma.
Happy birthday,
Mommy.
Mom.
My mom was like a couple weeks ago, but mommy was mommy was this week. So yeah, the food was just amazing. She was so happy. We had crab legs, we had salmon. What else did we have? We had shrimp. I want to say, and yeah, it looks like the platter like right in the middle. We had broccoli and corn and potatoes, and she just absolutely positively loved it. It was basically the little caption said it was enough for two, but it was both of us. We ate, we were full, and then we had leftovers. I want to say it's like 2.5, maybe 3. So just really, really good. And she's like really, really happy that her birthday dinner turned out really, really well. So shout out to him.
Nice.
Okay. That's good stuff.
He does an amazing job. So check him out.
All right. Awesome. Shout outs to Bare Hand Cuisine, right?
Bare Hand Love.
Bare Hand Love. Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to check him out. But as we move right along to tonight's main topic, who should fund the movement? We've seen a lot of stuff going on. A lot of pandering, a lot of backtracking, a lot of backpedaling. So I just wanted to know, what do you guys all think? Starting with Jimmy, what you got for me?
I think it's interesting times, man, to see all the pandering, to see the people losing their jobs. Shout out to Malik, because I think that he got at least 4 people fired with his social media posts, because he be putting them out there. So I just think that is an interesting time. But if you want me to answer the main question of who should fund the movement, and I know that a lot of us won't agree on this, but I feel like we should fund the movement. And actually, Camari, you can actually play my clip here if you so well, please, because this is what this made me think of. When you asked me this question, I had an immediate thought, and the logic you use is the same logic I have. Like we have to fund this ourselves. We have to just be like very cautious of taking outside capital. I know everybody's trying to throw money at us right now because of their guilt, but if we're truly going to do what I think we should do in building our own infrastructure to get our own power, we have to fund this. You got the clip ready?
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. All right, I'll keep talking. I love talking, but so for me, though, I'm cool on the outside capital. Yeah, this comes from our IG page, and it's from the movie, obviously, Malcolm X, but it reminded me of this scene right here.
Okay, playing it right now.
Yes, sir.
I believe that a lot of what you have to say is true, and I'm a good person in spite of what my ancestors did. I wanted to ask you, what can a white person like myself, who isn't prejudiced, what can I do to help you further your purpose?
Nothing.
but it's an amazing scene, and I automatically came to think about that when you asked this question. So this is what we're going to talk about. I said, man, it reminds me of the movie. But I think that we have to be like, it's up to us. Nobody's coming to save us. Only because also when you start taking money, then people feel as though they can have a say so on what it is you want to do, and that's what we have to get away from. So
So I gotta jump in, right? So that scene happened according to the book, and it's incorrect, but that scene happened prior to Malcolm taking Hajj in Saudi Arabia, right? Because when he came back, he changed his mind on that stance. He said he's willing to accept help from anybody that's willing to help. So does that have any bearing in your decision or any?
No,
at all?
Not at all. As he would say, nothing. No, it doesn't. It just really doesn't. Like, I feel as though we have to do this. Like, if we're really going to do something in this moment in history, it has to come from us. No outside help, because we are responsible for us. I believe in doing for self. I understand what's going on, but I don't want people to feel as though they have a say so on what it is we're trying to build, what it is we're trying to do, because it's about power. Right. And I don't want anyone to feel as though they can have a say so on us trying to get the power that we deserve. Now, with that being said, the whole idea of reparations, I'm not against that. I think that may be a separate issue in terms of what we talk, funding the movement, unless you want to marry the two together, because I do feel as though we're owed reparations. But in terms of taking money, say, from corporate parties, because that's everybody reaching out. I've even had people reach out to me for the community work that we do at By the Hood. Like, I want to send you a donation. And I said, no, that's all right. I don't even want it. Like, so, and the reason being is because when you take money from people, they feel like they have a say so.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Malik, what you got on this?
I mean, I think that it's a couple of different questions, right? Like, one, what is the movement, right? Are we talking about civil rights? Are we talking about finance? Like, we talking about police brutality? Like, what is it, right? So if we're talking about purely economic equality, then whoever can provide the insight, whoever can provide the bread, take it. If we're talking about civil rights and that rumble, that really had to come in. Like I said, part of what Jimmy said, I agree with, as far as people will feel like they have a say so. But even beyond that, they'll feel like just giving you a check is enough. Be like, you know what? I gave you $1 million. I don't need to do any more beyond that. And so that's why that, taking their money, I don't think will be necessarily the best thing. But listen, if we need funds to build, Ivy League 2.0, if we need funds to build out the camp, we got to find out where those funds are coming from. Now, if we already have a pot, if we already have a committed few or committed many that are actually donating money, donating their time, donating their skills, then we don't need any outside resources. That one thing. But until we have that infrastructure, a few $1 million can stretch a long way. So, like I said, this is it really depends on what precise movement that you're talking about. But the police brutality thing, I think that we, these circumstances, I think we're doing just fine without any outside help. I think the outside help is actually hurting more than it's helping anyway. Right. So in that case, nothing.
Okay. Tracy, what you got?
So I definitely believe that we are the ones that need to fund this movement. But then when I think about my question is, like, who does that all entail? I think it entails business owners. I think it entails people who are directly and indirectly benefiting from the movement. I'm a big person with organization. Being able to organize and say, all right, here is the plan. Here are the people who can execute it or have shown that they are willing to execute it or have put together some sort of plan. Let's put some money behind them. Let's also put together organized plans on what laws need to be changed, whose desk it needs to be put on, and if we have to create political action committees where we literally put together these committees where we can start putting some money behind these candidates that we want to choose that are elected officials that speak directly to our list of demands. I think we fund that. I think it comes from our Black-owned businesses. I think it comes from our Black CEOs. I think it comes from our organizations that also perpetuate and cultivate Black businesses. So that way we now have education organizations, whether it's charter schools, whether it's businesses, whether it's even the Black hospitals, Black attorneys, like even if it's just all of these people who can say, here's this political action committee, we're trying to do these 20 things. Give us some money so we can have some fuel behind us to execute that stuff so we can start talking to these senators and these state reps and everybody else to push forward our agenda on a national level to be able to make change as far as policy is concerned. So that's my thought, is we just got to put our money together and organize and have a list of demands.
Gotcha. Coming to you, Corey. What you got?
I'm sort of on. I want to be like Jim and say nothing. Simply because you know how I feel about the folks and their money, but you got to be really careful about taking money from businesses and things of that nature, because they will co-opt your movement and have you moving in places and shaking and doing things that's not what you intended to do. Like, I see a lot of movements get sidetracked because they done took money from somebody, and now the movement don't look nothing like it did when it started. It changes it and it augments it. And I believe any movement that starts off all Black, as soon as you put one white person in it, it's co-opted and it's corrupted and is no longer a part of the Black movement. Like, so that's just how I feel about those things. And so with money, that say so that you give them, that puts it in a whole different place. So when you take that money, you got it has to be contracted that they get no say so. You got to say that up front, or you got to tell them to keep their money, because you don't want your movement co-opted and corrupted by people who don't look like you and don't have the same the same motivation as you do to help the people that that you love and that you want to help. So as far as businesses are concerned, I mean, if you need the money to grow your business, don't turn down nothing but your collar. But if you can grow your business without that money, if you can grow your organization without that money, do it. You know what I mean? I worked in nonprofit for a long time, and I seen how they changed the whole setup of nonprofits, or have you boxed in so tight that you can't do nothing without worrying about the feds running down on you. So you got to be really, really careful about who you take money from and the conditions that come with that money.
Gotcha. Thank you, Corey. Coming to you next, Courtney. What do you think?
So I think Malik made a very valid point about what is the movement? Like, what are we looking to move? And I think the movement in broad terms is massive societal change. And for massive societal change is that you have to have everybody, or as many people as possible, at the table. So, but in terms of taking money to fund the movement, I think when it comes to the grassroots, things that are quintessential or kind of native to Black lives, I think that should be taken on by us. I think we should self-fund. But when it comes to businesses, I think businesses should leverage the capital that's available in the markets. PayPal just dropped, a grant program. Lowe's has a grant program. There's so many grant programs that are out there, based on, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say what these companies are doing it for. I'm not even going to go there. But I think it's important to take what's available to you, and then leverage that as a Black business owner into the things that are important to you. So taking money from a business, putting it into your business, and then working within the bounds of the money that you accepted, but then being able to grow your business in a way that you can self-fund and then actually leverage that into basically helping massive societal change, which is electing politicians, which is actually creating, as we kind of hinted around to a couple of times, creating another Ivy League, which was a Black private school that was focused on building up Black kings and queens in Philadelphia. So I think one of the biggest things, and I think we've talked about this before, is that we allow the government to educate our children, but we know that the government doesn't have our best interest in mind. Like, for example, they have a whole section on Black history, not saying that it's American history. So again, they're changing things in the way that they want to kind of craft their narrative. So I think part of the movement is crafting our own narrative and kind of taking back our power. So to that end, I think we have to fund some of it, but we're going to find the money that we can and where we can get it, because I'm not going to turn down things that are going to change, not only my life, but the life of my children and their children's children, because I think that's where we are. I mean, that's really where we are. We're in such a pivotal time in our nation's history to really change our trajectory. We can go left or we can go right. So that's where we are.
Gotcha. So my take on the whole thing is I'm like Malcolm X after Hodge. I think it should be Black controlled and everybody funded. Again, Black controlled and everybody funded. And there's so many different facets, so many different levels of this thing. Like Malik said, we have our Black business owners. So if corporations want to come through and further diversify their supply chain, I say they get that money, they get in that supply chain. If you have if you have corporations that want to fund HBCUs, I'm with HBCUs taking that money. If you have corporations that want to fund Black professional organizations like the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, I'm with that too, because all of these things help to make a better Black community. And, I don't think it's going to happen overnight. It's going to take a long time. But here's the thing, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but only 2% of Black people, only 2% of Black funds go to Black businesses. If we were really about group economics and really about collectivism in the way that we all say we are, that number would be way higher. I understand that there may be some limitations on the type of business that we can fund or that we can patronize, but it would be a lot higher than 2%. So then we have to talk about the mentality of the people that are getting behind the movement and putting money towards the movement. I don't think we talk enough about that. So that's kind of my take.
All right, I appreciate that. Let me say this though, right? So
I'm sorry. I just want to ask him, what did he mean by that last statement? We have to talk about the kind of people. I'm just trying to understand what you were saying, the last piece.
The fact that we don't spend more money with our own Black-owned businesses. And it's been well documented that Black-owned businesses employ Blacks way more than white corporations do, for the most part.
Yeah.
The only other people or the only other organization is the federal government that employs more Black people than Black-owned businesses. That's what I meant. You would think
got you.
To me, and it could just be me, you would think it would be natural, right? Malik's up here doing imitation Grubhub, right? He's doing deliveries, but he is supporting a Black-owned. No, in seriousness, he's supporting a Black-owned business, and he made sure to shout them out, right? That's a part of his ethos. That's a part of him, and I think that goes the same with all of us. Sadly,
absolutely,
everybody doesn't feel that way. So then, Corey talked about nonprofits. A lot of nonprofits are strapped for cash for various reasons. But why do we have to rely on outside funding to take care of our kids? I mean, Tracy brought up Ivy Leaf. I'm a product of a school called Enthamo Sasa, which is an African center school that was in Germantown, which helped produce a lot. There were a lot of Black schools that are no longer funded. Winfield Academy was another one. The Lotus Academy, which I think just came back, but they all went through this struggle. And money, I mean, we have $1.2 trillion in spending. I know a part of that is credit. I know it sounds more sexy than what it is, but to only spend, again, 2% of that 1.2 trillion, to me, is very disappointing. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, because you have other cultures who are living off of the money we give them, plus they support each other, so they're living off the money that they give themselves. So they kind of have like two pots. I didn't mean to cut you off, Malik. Though Malik was saying something.
But hold on, Malik. Let me just say this real quick. I was writing an email, Jimmy, right? You saw my thing yesterday, right? So I just did some research, and I was looking at all the minority banks. You know how much money black banks have in this country? There's 21 black banks. No idea. They have a little. I don't know the total number. They got a little under $5 billion.
That's it.
Deposits. You know how much Asians have? Over 120 billion. Right. So when you look at that number, it's like WTF. It's like, damn, we're not even in the game. So you know.
So it's a couple things. Sorry. It's a couple of things you kind of ran into right now. United Bank in Philadelphia, they actually got in trouble because of Norman Coyle, who went to jail, but he defrauded them $15 million. And that was the thing that kind of put him over the edge financially, where they had to really downsize. So what he was doing is he had a portfolio of houses that he took loans on, but those houses were supposed to be for sale by owner. And then he went to jail and left them holding the bag for like $15 million. And that's one thing that happened with United Bank. I forget what year that was, but yeah, with Norman Coyle, he may still be in jail because he defrauded a lot of people. But I do want to get back though to the nonprofit thing, right? So Stacey Abrams took a couple $1 million from Bloomberg during his campaign. Now she was using that money to increase the voter rolls, right? She had a voter registration draft about Georgia and took his money, and she was vilified for taking Bloomberg money because of his stances on stop and frisk and just who he was. But he got vilified. She got vilified by millions of people who are doing nothing, right? And it's like, okay, she's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Take the money. So her reputation took a hit by taking this money, but the people that she was helping largely didn't support her in the way that the devil, right, was supporting her. I'm saying, so which one is it? Take the money, don't take the money, and don't register the voters in Georgia when we need the voters. She was put in a really tough spot. I think she was vilified unfairly.
No, I mean, Malik, I think that's a very great analysis, right? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I know Black Lives Matter is taking a big hit right now too, because a lot of people are complaining that they took money from George Soros. And again, the people that they're helping aren't able to match those funds in any way, shape, or form. So it's really hard. It's really hard. Anybody else have anything on this? Okay, so let's check in with the comments real quick.
You know what I'm saying? One thing is you do have to have morals with your money. Like, so when to me as a party promoter, I did look to get sponsors, and morally, I never took money from tobacco companies. I never took money from malt liquor companies, and they were offering the biggest checks. And at a time when I'm brokest in my life, Cool Cigarettes offered me $10,000 to do promotion at a party, and they wanted to have their models walking around my party, passing out boxes of Cool Cigarettes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm like, yeah, for 10,000, but I can't be a part of that. So I turned down their 10 racks for that event, and I never once regretted not taking that money.
No, I agree. Our morals must be uncompromised, right? There's no doubt about that. A lot of organizations, a lot of Black strong organizations died because their morals got compromised. I mean, we don't talk about this a lot, but that's what's kind of the downfall to the Black Panthers plus COINTELPRO. So, I don't want to.
But I just feel like that's easier said than done when you got folks that.
What's easier said than done?
To have your morals be uncompromised. Because yes, you can stand within your purpose and in your faith of what you want done and how you want to set it up, but you are still suffering from what is that? the cold that the flu that America gave you. Like you have these poverty symptoms, and you're trying to build something, and then someone offers you something to be able to quit all of that and just give it a band-aid to make it better. Like Malik's $10,000. Like, I use it, the broke is at his life. You sure you don't want to take that 10? Like, it's a lot of things like that happen to our organizations that become a problem because they still are not, we don't own anything. We don't have financial wealth. We don't have things that will allow us to say, you know what, that's not that big of a deal. I can still stand on my principles and still eat tomorrow, still feed my family, still take care of my bills, and still be able to not have to worry about something looking over my shoulder with somebody trying to take me out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that, Tracy. But the other point that Malik was making is that he, no matter how broke he wasn't going to do that to his folks. You know what I mean? And so that's the other point. Like, what's the line? You know what I mean? Like, so if I take the money, he would have gave up control right there. At that point in his business, if he takes that money, he gives up the control of his business. Because now they know they can compromise him at any point. They can ask him to do anything.
Right. And I agree with that. I think my conversation is more, there needs to be more support for those people who have those visions to make sure that there isn't a lot of outside noise that can come in and derail it. And a lot of the outside noise comes in because folks' stomachs is rumbling.
No, I ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
I'm not in disagreement with you. It's just, there's a line. You have to draw a line at some point, or you're so compromised that you're no good to the people anyway.
But that's why to me the easy answer is like you just can't take it because Theodore DiBiase taught me that everybody has a price, right? So if they would have told Malik about 25, then he might he might have had to rethink that, right? So, but if you just say going in, listen, I'm not taking this, then that's one way to eliminate that. Because you have to really be careful because and a lot of you made the point. I don't know who made the point that
I'm coming to those. Yeah, I'm coming to those, Jimmy. Because there's a couple of them.
No. I was talking about one of us made the point that if they give you the money, that might be like, okay, well, we gave you the money, like, and that's it, like, because what we want right now is power, right? We talked before about we don't want these emails, we don't want these tweets, we want C-suites and board seats.
That's it.
Wrong,
but
anyway,
that's it. That's the hashtag.
Hashtag C-suites and board seats, like, so that's what we want. So don't just try. And it's something that you said before, Corey. You said why you don't like people to give charity because charity is trash. Because once they give it to you, like, here, I don't even care to take the check. I gave it to you. Now go ahead. I sent out a tweet and give you his check, and that's it. It has to be so much more than that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't disagree with that. But let's check in with the folks real quick. Rhonda Cox says, "Good evening, Rhonda."
Hey, Rhonda.
Rhonda.
What's up, Rhonda?
Miss Merrick says, "Well, that's really nice that you all shed light on Bob's. That's what we do. That's
obligation."
Miss Merrick, okay. Nadia. Okay. I thought that's what I said. I might have said Nadia. My apologies. But I wanted to pull up Miss Merrick's post right here because it kind of talks about what we're talking about. So she says, I think we're responsible for us. As an individual, it's up to the individual to have accountability and responsibility. The same with our community. That's how we gain control of what we build. We're not trying to fit it. We're trying to create it.
Well, no. So let's talk about that because I think it was Jimmy last week who was talking. We were having the conversation about segregation. We were having a very big conversation about people just want to be, a lot of African Americans want to be accepted. So I agree with Ms. Myrick's comment completely, but I think we as a community have to kind of get on the same page. We have to really kind of think about what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to create? Are we just trying to fit in? At the end of the day, I think a lot of people just want to fit in, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think it's important for us to take a look at how the world looks at us. We're trendsetters. When we do something, people are looking at us to see, okay, well, that's what they're doing. I'm going to copy what they're doing, and I'm going to market it to the masses. So again, we are trendsetters, and we have to assume our position. And part of that is being creators. But I just think we have to get out of the mindset of fitting in. I mean, when we desegregated, it was more so, okay, I can go live with them. They can't tell me I can't be there. I can't, we can't hold hands and sing. We can now hold hands and sing kumbaya with everyone. And it's like, yeah, no, I think it's important to build our own, but I think it's a different conversation when they said, no, you can't come over here and play in our sandbox. That's a different conversation. I want to play in my sandbox, you play in your sandbox. But if you put up a gate to say, okay, your sandbox is filthy, we're not cleaning it, we're not going to give you the tools to clean it, we have a beautiful sandbox over here, but you're not allowed, that's actually what was going on. And I think we have to put all of that in perspective. But that doesn't mean that once you get all the tools you need to clean up your sandbox, that doesn't mean that you flock to somebody else's sandbox and then leave the mess in the other sandbox. That's not what you do. I mean, it's incumbent upon us for us to create a space. And I think it's just time to stop running from the amazingness that we are and actually stand firm and create what we have here. And I just feel like not everybody's on the same page with that.
I totally agree. So I want to take this next comment. So Mr. Terry says, love to hear your thoughts on Robert Kiyosaki. So I want you to return. This is Camari's opinion. Fuck Robert Kiyosaki and all his bullshit.
Whoa!
Never ever support that dude. I actually started to make a video about it, but I said he's not worth my time. And so he said all this stuff about Candace Owens and George Floyd and all this other stuff about how Trump is right and everybody's not. Fuck Kiyosaki. Fuck Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's what I have to say about that.
Yo, he was calling people losers, like these losers.
Yeah.
He's out of pocket, man. He's out of pocket, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tracy. I didn't mean to offend you, but I had to say what I felt, and that was the only way I could truly articulate it. To be
she clutched all 21 pearls.
22.
You okay?
Oh, 22. Oh, my bad.
You forgive me?
I gotta get it right.
No, but that was I understood the ferocity, so that makes sense. But yeah,
listen,
we off guard.
I'm just gonna say this, right? I think I'm probably one of the most patient and accepting people, but when lines get crossed, there's no more rat. And I think he crossed a major line, and he's been crossing lines for quite some time. And to be honest,
absolutely,
like I think Corey, Jimmy, Malik, and Courtney will tell you, I used to host cash flow one-on-one games for his product. Yeah. And I've done a lot of that. So I can never do that. I can't fund or support racists in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
He's an habitual line stepper.
Yes, he is.
Yes,
he is.
Yeah, he's definitely a line stepper.
So that's
I had some thoughts on a Facebook post that Jimmy
he was trying to get me put in jail with his post, but it's all good though. I mean, y'all raised up for me. But
what were you going to think, Corey? I would love to hear it. We can talk about it right now.
I mean, you can read it. I mean, if you want to, it's on my page what he said, but I don't know that I don't know if you want to put like
you don't want to put those on the air because I said some real derogatory stuff. You know what I mean?
It was a lot worse than what you said.
Yeah, I'm way more derogatory than you are, and we want to keep it family friendly. So you don't really want to say what I said. But Robert Kiyosaki, he's on my take a poop list. I want to take a poop on anything he does.
I just to keep it PC, I just think that he should be tossed in the pit of unfortunate. And a lot of our people love his products, love his stuff. Even when me and Corey go out into the community to speak, we don't ever talk about Rich Dad Poor Dad, but we reference the cash flow quadrant a lot because of the concepts in the book. But it's hard to do that when someone is speaking that way. I mean, he's just straight like these losers and this, that, and the third is like no empathy, no understanding, not even trying to. But at the same time, I also know that he's a marketer.
He's selling a book.
He's a marketer.
Yeah.
He's a marketer. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to get his purple and black logo everywhere by saying that craziness because all the attention he got from that, negative and positive, is still attention.
Yep.
But effing
there's no such thing as bad publicity. But
and I think it's important to have that conversation, to discuss his background, to discuss the fact that he is a marketer and that kind of thing, so that way folks are not bamboozled with what he's trying to do. This is a full staged platform for him to be able to recoup financial gain from being able to say things that he already believes.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is,
Yeah.
him and Donald Trump been homies for a long time, and he understands how Donald Trump makes more money the more inflammatory his comments. So this was his moment to channel his inner Donald Trump, you know, and sell product. 'Cause listen, 'cause Donald Trump fans are Kiyosaki fans and vice versa. They're going to buy his books, no matter how we feel about it, and it's okay, you know. Same thing, anything else. We can listen. He did deliver some quality content, I will say, and you know, I've learned from his content, and so we're going to take it and we're going to use it, and we're just going to throw him out with the bathwater.
I agree with that. But I will say, you know, Jimmy said something earlier about how a lot of our folks, black folks, still rock with Kiyosaki, but there's actually a lot of quote unquote gurus out there that are kind of racist. I mean, Grant Cardone said he wants to be able to use the N-word. And I watched that.
I don't bang with him at all. Pause. But I don't.
There's a lot of
people
that Grant Cardone in the 10X, like.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I mean, man, y'all gotta let me get. I want to get off on these dudes, man, but I can't. Like, I really can't say what I want to say, because if I say it the way I want to say it, it's going to sound crazy. So, but these dudes, man, they you know, they
But you know, here's what's interesting about that, right? So because of psychology, history, and all those things, what I find interesting is, right, so a lot of it's personality, right? It's the cult of personality. But when one of us has that same, like, you know, let's say image, or tries to portray that, boy, we don't go for that from our own people. We just don't go from that from our own people. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about that,
but I understand why. I understand why, though. I understand why. So it's not. I'm not trying to, like, you know, poop on anyone, because I totally understand why. But it just bothers me that they're able to get off some of the things they get off. Like, I saw people on Kiyosaki's tweet, like, taking up for him because of his book. Well, you know, he wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I'm like, yo, dude, come on, man, like, cut it out. So I'm talking about some of us. Yeah, some of us doing that. But, you know,
all my skin folk ain't my kinfolk all day.
Yeah, what Chuck tells
us. Me that.
Every brother ain't a brother just because of color.
This is absolutely true. This is absolutely true.
All right, so Ms. Merrick, moving right along. Ms. Merrick says, building Black Wall Street. Now, I got a little pet peeve about that. We give Black Wall Street Tulsa, right? Because Booker T. Washington named Tulsa Black Wall Street. But I've been thinking about that. I wonder if Harlem was a bigger economic engine than Black Wall Street was. And it's like,
I don't know.
All this energy to Black Wall Street, but not to Harlem or to Durham, as Malik corrected me last week.
Rosewood.
Or to Philly.
Rosewood got to move.
Or Rosewood. Or Memphis.
Yeah.
There's so many.
But I have another pet peeve too, because to me, when we talk about specifically in 2020, right? A lot of people will talk about Black Wall Street, they're referencing. I know there's documentaries coming out, series coming out for Netflix, the whole nine. But I don't think that when you rebuild something like that, you do it in the way they did it in the past. Black Wall Street, to me, has to be a mindset.
Yep.
It's not a location, right? There's a great book called The Jewish Phenomenon. And in that book, what they talk about is how it doesn't have to necessarily be a location, because they are all brought into the same culture and brought up with the same principles. They move a certain way, and it doesn't have to be a location. They stay on code. Well, at least a lot of them stay on code, right? You're always going to have your outliers, but a lot of them stay on code. And it's a mentality more so than a place. So when I think of what Black Wall Street looks like in 2020, it has to be a mindset. Like what Camari said earlier about only 2% of us spending money with our own people. That can't be true. A lot of us have to get out of that. We have to put, like, so all of us on here, we talk about this and we do this because it's part of who we are, but it should be part of who everyone is. So when I think of Black Wall Street in terms of, like, you know, Black wealth, what we talk about with Black health, this is a more so than a place, because I see a lot of us, and I know that's not what she meant. She didn't necessarily say that, but it just reminded me when I see this online and I see people talk. I saw one the other day and they were talking about where could it be? Like, should it be in Philly? Should it be in here? And everyone's trying to find this place, when to me it's about the mentality, not the place.
That's right. And Miss Merrick just said mindset. She took the words right out of my mouth. And we talk about that all the time, right? So when we talk about desegregation, they always say desegregation was the worst thing that ever happened to us. I say no, right? Because had we had the mentality and the mindset that we require, it wouldn't matter where we are. And going back to your point, Jimmy, about the Jewish phenomenon, if Jewish people are in Russia, if Jewish people are in Brazil, if Jewish people are in the United States, they don't care where they are. They're Jews first, and everything comes down to the protection.
Everything. I mean, this, they support Israel, right? And some of them have never been.
Yeah.
But they have this, like, they're raised a certain way. And I mean, I was getting ready to talk about how we treat like Africa, but that'll lead me to a whole other tirade. So I'm just gonna let Corey say what he has to say.
All right, so I wanted to address a little bit about what Camari was just talking about, and saying that if the mindset is Black Wall Street, then integration was terrible for Black people then, because the thing that integration did it kept us from, we had the mindset because we were together. So when people talk about a place, Jim, they're saying it because you're more likely to do things with people that and proximity helps in that. And so I understand why they're looking for a place. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. That's why the Jews support Israel, because they have a place.
Yeah, but what he's saying is if we had the mindset, the place doesn't matter, is what he's saying. He's saying because
you're right.
The thing about
but listen, we always talk about Byron and his concept of moving next to your friends, right? The reason why you want to move people next to people that you live with is because it gives you a unified mindset, and you can literally walk out your house and talk to those people. You know what I mean? And so
yeah, but hold on, Court. Historically speaking, that's not what happened, because they didn't allow us to live next to them. They allowed us to spend money with them. And our mentality was so messed up that we thought their ice was colder. So we would go out of our way to spend money with them as opposed to spending it with ourselves. When they rebuilt Black Wall Street, we always talk about how that part's not talked about.
The thing that killed it was integration, where they went into the other places
because the mentality was there.
All right, hold on.
The actual structures were there.
Let's all talk one at a time. But I want to say this. That's not what killed us. Mindset and lack of culture is what killed us, Corey. If we want to look at Israel, right? Israel was not always there. When they stole Israel from the Palestinians in 44 or 48, I forget the exact year, the Israeli people had already been moving to the Palestine encampments in the 1800s or late 1900s. So that was already in play. They just used the war as a catalyst to get them to the next.
All I'm saying is they have a point of reference. I'm not saying that everybody has to move.
We do too. But we don't support it.
Right.
We do too, but we just don't support it.
You're right.
And so again, Miss Merrick said again, it's mindset, right? So we got Black businesses that are online. We got Black businesses that are in communities. We got Black businesses that are in white neighborhoods. They all tend to hire Black folks more than anybody else. So at the end of the day, why not support our own? So that's all I got. So moving right along to the next topic, right? I want to talk about financial freedom. And I saw something this week. I don't know if anybody follows Amanda Seales, and actually I think it was late last week actually, but Amanda Seales has left The Real. And she left The Real because she said that it didn't feel good to her soul. And I found that really, really interesting. If anybody follows Amanda Seales at all, she usually gets it right, but sometimes she gets it epically wrong. But she's always a supporter. She's outspokenly Black, unapologetically Black. Oh, what was that? Yeah. So she's unapologetically black, and a lot of times the corporate people didn't want her to speak out about those things. It caused her a lot of pain. But then she was like, F it, I'm out, I'm bouncing. At the end of the day, that's kind of the goal. What do y'all think?
So I guess, are you asking, should she have left or you know?
I don't know the
Think about it, baby.
Is that what?
anything. I mean, she didn't feel good. Yeah, it was good for her. I guess that's the goal, right? But I don't know the circumstances to really speak on that situation. But it's always good to not have to do anything, right? Everything you do is out of love and not out of a sense of I need something to eat. That's always a good place to be.
And that's what I meant, Malik, right? I don't know the whole situation and any arguments or any discrepancies, but she's like, yo, this doesn't feel good to my soul. I already have an established brand. I can rock out when I want, and I'm not tied to anything. And like you said, you ain't got to worry about putting food on the table. You can do what feels good to your soul and what you love.
Yeah, more power to her. Like my thing is, go ahead, Tracy.
No, I was just gonna chime in from the standpoint of somebody who watches the show, and have seen since when she became a part of it, and when I think Tamar left. The conversation is it's the old adage of working in corporate America, so to speak. There's certain topics that are off limits. There's certain rules as far as being able to streamline discussions, and they talk about a lot of issues and a lot of current events. But Amanda Seales, on her personal platform, she does really, really go hard and go deep into how she feels personally and how it affects Black people. And I know she has a degree in African American studies, and she's got a whole bunch of other credentials that make her very qualified to speak on those topics. But in that arena, it really wasn't going to allow her to be able to express what she needs. She really needs her own show or a network that allows her to even be able to speak, from a space of how he feels, as opposed to what's politically correct to talk about in that topic.
What were you going to say, Jenny?
No, I'm just gonna say more power to her. I mean, because we talk a lot about lifestyle design. You have to do what makes you happy at the end of the day. And from that article on Deadline, she just wasn't happy. Like she wasn't happy there. She wasn't able to express herself. And it doesn't matter how much money you make if you go to work angry. You know what I mean? Like, yep. and I have friends that were made a lot of money working at certain places. I'm gonna name them, but were miserable. Were absolutely miserable, and they were making, $300,000, but just completely miserable, and left a job to make like 1/3 of that. But it wasn't about the money. So I empathize with people like that, because I get up every day and I'm happy to go get it. But I can't imagine going to a place where you feel like you can't express yourself. You're unhappy, but you're doing it just for a check. So salute to her, and I wish her much success. But this also goes to our overall point. We need to have space for people like that, our own spaces where she can say what she wants to say and be happy and do these things. I think about these networks that we do have, and the whole question of whether they really are our networks or not. And that's probably a whole nother show, but we need to have spaces for our people. Let's just put it that way.
There was a meme that was floating around after the riots that basically said there are a lot of people asking people of color, are they okay? But they really are not safe spaces for the answers to that question.
Wow.
You know what? It's so funny that you say that. I have a good friend of mine who was actually struggling with that. And I think I put a post out and she said some things, and I checked in on her, and she said, her job, she works for a major corporation that has a lot of money, and it's a very stodgy company for the most part. And they said they want her to kind of be the voice of Black people on her team and to speak up about it. And she was very uncomfortable with it, because one, she felt like she might jeopardize her job. Two, she didn't feel comfortable just bearing her soul, to put it bluntly. And so, it really put her in a funky space, and that's sad.
Yeah, it is.
Anybody else have anything else for this?
Yeah, I mean, I applaud her for being able to get on the move. You know what I mean? Like me, that's been my life. Like I work at a job, I feel uncomfortable, I bounce. Like, even I got 3 kids now, and I'm at the point where I don't have to work for anybody. But when I was working, like, I've taken teaching jobs and stuff like that. And the only thing that keep me at a lot of these jobs is the kids, because the adults at some of these places are so ridiculous that they're not even about the kids. Like, I wanted to call them another name, but what they are, ridiculous is the word I'm going to use for them. And because they don't care for the kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's all about, bottom line and checks and all of that. And there's like 5 people in the whole building that care about the kids. And you can tell who those people are because those are the kids. Those are the places that the kids flock to.
Yep.
And so, and then I worked in special education too. So, I'm really, really hypersensitive to how kids feel, especially in places that, everything around them is black, except for when they go into the school, all the teachers is white. And so that's, that's a whole nother issue that I have with a lot of the, inner city schools, but it comes from me not wanting to be in those spaces. Like, it gets uncomfortable because I start berating these white women, and I feel like they're going to call the cops on me.
Right.
So about not being able to do the things that they're supposed to do with these black children and how they treat these black children. And so I always end up getting written up. And, by the time they ready to fire me, I've been quit already. So I understand how Miss Sills feels.
Right. Now, Miss Merrick says Amanda's not trying to fit in, but there must be times where we've got to stand in those places to say what we said. I get what you're saying. I don't know though. Like, I just read The Spook Who Sat by the Door, and matter of fact, I think a better example is I was watching Black Panther last night, and everybody just loves the Killmonger character, right? But when you really examine the Killmonger character, in my opinion, he was actually co-opted, and he actually assimilated into white culture or government culture, whatever you want to call it. So basically, he bore his soul, even though what the Wakandans did was absolutely wrong and unforgivable. But in that pursuit, he became something he was not. And so a lot of times we do submerge ourselves in these spaces, and we wind up morphing and changing into something that we're not supposed to be. And I think I
gotta rewatch it now. I gotta rewatch it now. Like,
man, that's a whole conversation right there. But I'm gonna wholeheartedly disagree with that, Camari. He became something like his bitterness from his dad being murdered by his brother. Right, spoiler alert for anybody who haven't seen Black Panther, right? But right. So that anger. But his thing is, he's like, okay, we have the technology, we have the weapons. Let's go ahead and fight oppression with this technology, with this weapons, rather than keep it secret. Let's go out here and rumble. I don't think that's not a co-op. That's total opposite of a co-op. I mean, I'm being co-opted.
Right, but you're looking at it from that one aspect, right? But even Agent Ross said, he's going to do certain things.
Oh, now you're quoting Agent Ross. Ross.
Right. I'm quoting the movie. That's right. And what he did was exactly what he predicted that he was going to do. And so, and that he started to destroy his own people. So it's all well and good to want to fund the liberation, but at what cost? You're going to destroy your own people to fund this liberation?
No. So here's another thing, Camari. I'm going to disagree with you on that. His people destroyed themselves when they cheated him twice. Right? So, he was the rightful king. Hold on. And his people cheated.
Okay. I like this.
So the the lady that was in the ancestral burial ground or whatever, where the heart-shaped herbs were. She told him about the culture and the tradition. And what did he do?
He
said,
burned
"Burn
it
it all
down."
down." And when she just told him what the lay of the land was, he killed her. He
And he disrespected the elder right there and choked up the elder. At that point,
he did that multiple times.
Right.
Yeah, he choked up. Yeah, once he choked up on the elder, I was done with dude.
Right. And so we have to be not quick. We have to be very careful about what we think is okay, just because on the surface it looks cool. But we really got to drill down several layers and really look at this. And I don't think a lot of people have looked at that. And I think when we submerge ourselves in these spaces that really don't care about us, but we're there for an objective, a check, or to get training to exact revenge, we're giving up a portion of ourselves. But I mean,
so what about you don't believe in like the Sam Greenlee spook who stepped by the door approach?
No, so I just talked about that, right? So I switched, right?
No, I'm saying.
So
but did he give a piece of his?
Right. So I love that, right? But he even admitted that he had compromised himself so much and was also willing to compromise the young gang that he was beyond reach at that point. By the way,
all right, let me ask you a question. So that's an interesting thing.
But Spook Who Sat by the Door is excellent. It's so well written. I think everybody should read it.
So I want to talk about Sean's point. I think Sean makes a really good point. Sorry, y'all. I had to step off, had to take care of some business. So I can't.
I know you're getting that money. But Courtney, before you make that point about Sean's point, because Miss Myrick, Malik, and also what Camari said, I just had a question I want to put out there, and you might be getting ready to talk about this anyway. Is it necessary? And I'm just going to sound crazy. Is it necessary to sometimes compromise for the greater good?
That's a great question. I think we all do it in some regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on with Malik? Hi, Malik.
My joint is going out.
But Camari,
go ahead, Courtney.
But Camari, you can go ahead and go. Let's get to Sean's comment.
Okay, yeah. Sean's comment was so. Sean says trying to express yourself to white counterparts when they ask in a work setting is difficult because he wants to go full blast, but he's at work and he'd rather not speak on it to them at all. Especially when you're with being angry about what's going on with it. It's a tricky mix, and I feel that on so many levels. So in my
on a spiritual level.
I'm an attorney. I am a tax attorney. I live in very majority spaces, and I have for the majority of and for the entirety of my career. Before I was an attorney, I was a stockbroker. I was I think we talked about it. I was the chocolate drop in the cup of milk, which is fine. However, I was a chocolate drop when I was working at Merrill when Barack Obama was elected. And so their vibe with me was kind of like, how does this black person feel because a black man was elected president? And I'm just kind of like, it's really hard for me to process this. So I'm going to need you guys to just back up off of me, please. Just please. And that's how I felt in 2008. So to feel this way in 2020 is just kind of like, this is too much. So not only do I have this coronavirus floating around outside, but I have people who look like me, who who could potentially be my family members that could be either killed by coronavirus, killed by the police, caught up in some random nonsense. And you're just like, I just need a break. And then when you have people come to you and it's not that they're not well-intentioned, they're saying, hey, how's a white person? Can I help you? And it's like, I just need you to get out of my face right now. Like I spend half my day, in rage or in tears. Like, I just need you to chill out for a second. And it's a very hard, and then on top of that, when someone asks you at work, you're like, I really just want to go off right now, but I'm pretty sure I still need that check at the end of the week, so I'm going to stop talking. But you try to I think, as Myrick said earlier, is that you have to stand where you are. So I advocate in the best way possible based on my position, and that's kind of how I sleep at night. Is that okay? You know, if somebody goes really far off the deep end, I'm like, come on, come back. Let's pull you back in. But still, it's still a very delicate balance, and we're still people, and we're still processing all of this. You know, I've had 2 cousins who had coronavirus, 2 that were both hospitalized. And so at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out what's going on with them. And then next thing I know, somebody got shot. And we're like, yo, is it so-and-so down in Atlanta? And we had to kind of run through to make sure it wasn't our kinfolk. And it's like, this is too much. It's entirely too much. Like Corey's hitting, I hit the ceiling. I'm done. I'm done. And I feel like when people don't recognize our humanity in our struggle, it's like another gut punch. And people don't realize it's like we haven't just been dealing with this in 2020. We've been dealing with this in some way, shape, form, or fashion since 1619 when we got
1492.
I'm sorry?
I say 1492. But
I had some ancestors that were here trying to mind their business when Christopher Columbus came, but I can definitely trace back things to 1619 or somewhere around that part. So I guess my thing is that, again, is that we process and we live this every single day, and someone coming to ask you your thoughts or how they can help you, work through this is just, no, I'm not today. Not on today. I'm not.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
And stop asking me to do so. It's selfish. It's selfish again. Yet again, being selfish. So that's it.
No. I share Courtney's sentiment all the way, and I definitely am in a lot of arenas that are very, very much not African American dominated, and it's a constant struggle. And what is it? James Baldwin said, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be enraged almost all the time. And it's the truth.
Bars.
It's the truth, because we constantly have to code switch. We constantly have to think about and double talk and double step and think in front of some of our counterparts in order to make sure that we can still work through an agenda that we need to get done and sidestep some of all the other landmines of race and prejudice and all kinds of other things. But the reality of it is, I feel like in this environment, I've taken 3 stances. The 3 stances I've taken is, 1, it is not my place to educate you on race in this country. There are a lot of opportunities and resources that you can really, really look into and literally Google to find. The second stance is, I literally have a list. You want resources? I'll email them to you. A list of podcasts, books, marches, autobiographies, information that you can look through and literally go through all of them on your leisure to educate yourself.
Tracy, we need that list.
Okay. And the third,
yo, that's a great idea.
It's literally, I'm a part of a bunch of different circles of groups of people, and I do have some African American human resource people, and they all have had to get together in a space that is legally comfortable within the confines structure of corporate America to be able to say what is acceptable, to be able to educate these people who have to work alongside people who are enraged.
Wow.
So it was a list compiled of everything and everything, even down to different things about Tulsa, different things about the Harlem Renaissance, different things about books, Malcolm X, the spook that sat by the door. Like, all these books are books and things that are listed on this entire compilation that was put together. But the third thing that I love, and I probably have been using as of late, especially after the recent situation with the Wendy's and the young man being killed, is today I do not have capacity. And that is all I have to say.
Only thing I don't like about that statement is that you said today.
But
you say you never got no time for him?
Yeah, I don't got no. I just don't have capacity. Like, I got time today,
listen, though,
I got FLH for you.
I have a list of books that I have given people books like, yo, just go read this. And I did this past week on our IG page because we got attacked this week on our IG page by a lot of trolls. But I like that idea of putting together not just books, but podcasts, maybe a couple of YouTube links. I'm gonna look together a Google Doc, and then I'm not even gonna respond. So I'm just gonna respond with the link to the Google Doc.
So wait a second.
Here's everything you need.
Did we talk about? I'm sorry, guys. I was off for a second. Did we talk about how we got Karen this week? Did we talk about that?
No, we did. We definitely.
Oh yeah, Karen came on the Black Wealth page too. This week.
Just came to mind.
Talking filthy to us.
I'm trying to find it right.
We need to talk about that.
It was under the Bob Johnson clip.
The reparations show.
And while you're pulling it up, can we talk about how dare you? Like, really, how dare you? How dare you come to somebody's stage?
Hold on, Courtney. Just
I was setting stage because Courtney responded because I was about to block and report it as spam. I'm not doing this with you, okay? No, ma'am. No.
We don't block report as spam because I got bars. We don't need to block report.
But see, that's why we're a group, and this is why we work together as a group. And I think that's one of the important things is that again we balance each other out. It's kind of like I'm like, what? You're going to what? No, you're not. Boop boop. I'm out. Corey's like, I got time today, and I'm going to be.
I got time every day. I got time every day.
Yo, shout out to Sean. You gotta show Sean's recent comment because he said he went through it this past week at work, and you got to see what he told his coworker.
Yeah, I don't have a bandwidth.
I get it.
I don't have a bandwidth.
Sean's my guy. I love Sean to death, man. He really like that's his move though. Like he's really a really calm and collected dude and thoughtful person. And so for him to say he don't have a bandwidth, that really means something because he don't really, he's like a personable. And so if he tell you he don't got the bandwidth, he's really sick of the shit. And so like that's real crap.
I appreciate that. And I think again we have to allow ourselves the space because at some point I'm just like, you know what? Here's my notice. Y'all be blessed. Because it's just, you get to a point where, and I think that's part of the thing that we've talked about before is about how do we put ourselves in a position where we're not subjected to something like this on a regular basis. Now, let me clarify so all minds are clear. I'm not subjected to anything. Every so often something will come up and I'm like, hey. But I was even on a CLE earlier this week. And then the conversation was specifically about diversity in the legal profession. And the question was, how can we help Black people? And one of the speakers who was Representative Joanna McClendon, she was a former public defender. She was a former DA. So she was talking about African Americans or Black people's relationship with the criminal justice system. And she was having that conversation from her experience. Now, at no point did she say that that's the only place that we have experiences with law. Like she never said that. But then everybody's like, well, there are a lot of people on the call like, what? I don't do criminal law. How can I help the Black people? And it's like, you know what? That was kind of racist. And I had a pop.
Wow.
Hey, wow. There's other places across the law, specifically in the civil space, where African Americans are disproportionately affected by adverse outcomes. It's across the board. And for you to think the only time that we get jammed up is because we got jammed up by the cops is a real live problem. So again, that's like in my space. Go ahead.
Wow. And she probably meant well by it. That's the crazy part. In her head, she was. In her head, she meant well.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one attorney who said it. I mean, Representative McClendon is amazing, and she's amazing. She's an amazing attorney, and so she was just talking about her scope from her experience. So it's kind of like, how did you get from that scope of experience that there's nothing else that goes on, and the only time is when we're in handcuffs. Come on. Like it's so frustrating.
Yeah, let's go back to Karen. Let's go back to
Karen. He's finding it now. It's further down the page. He's finding it now. You got it? All right, let's go.
Can everybody see it?
No.
It's too small.
It's too small, Camari.
I mean, I got the screenshots if you really want to.
Yeah.
All right, so Jackie Hester Ghani, whatever her name is. Does my family get reparations for dying in World War I, to Korean War and Vietnam. They don't have a choice but to go, and they died. What about my ancestors who died in helping to free slaves? I lost many ancestors and family members. Nobody in this country in this lifetime has owned slaves. That was an ugly part of our history. Many parts of our history was ugly. Move on. And so the response was, Jackie, whatever her name is, you have the nerve to cat burglar to come on a page called the Black Wolf Project, mayonnaise complexion, talking about reparations. You colonizer. Oh, we got the colonizer in, my man. You colonizer ancestors enslaved Black people, built an economy off of our free labor, and maimed, raped, and murdered my ancestors. GTFOH. Everybody knows what that is, right? Nobody asked. nobody asked your male. Nobody asked your male sapien ass for anything but to be left alone. All right, so listen, before I get through this, Corey, you are officially elected to chief checker and officer. Like, that is your job.
Not a problem.
The economy you see now that you don't want us compensated for was built by Black bodies. Your raggedy ass ancestors died because they were trying to colonize somebody else and died in the process. Don't come on here with foolishness and keep your opinions about what Black folks need or don't need to your page. We didn't ask. And for the move on part, y'all, clear folks, always want to move on when we bring up anything that resembles something that would actually help Black people. Everything this country has been built off the enslavement of our people, every damn thing. So if you don't let Black people talking to other Black people about, if you don't like Black people talking to other Black people about how we recoup, that you can play in rush hour traffic on LA freeway. To clap up. Boy, you was never my man. You like my Superman now.
Yo, listen, that's the light version. Because I was going to really cuss her ass out.
It was light.
Yeah, that's light.
That's the light version. Because I was really going to cuss her ass out, but then I thought about y'all. I was like, y'all really don't cuss and fuss like I do. So I took a lot of the stuff out of there. Like, I had to rewrite that like 3 times to make it, to make it acceptable to put on our page, because I was really going to hit it with the double barrel Karen.
But listen, I appreciate you for thinking it through that way.
Yes, but I would
absolutely.
They will try to spin it on us and say, "Oh, the radical group going around calling people male sapiens." That like took the cake.
Male sapiens.
I officially lost it when he said cat burglar.
Yeah, I appreciate you keeping it light, man. In my Tate Rock voice, that's light. But I appreciate you doing that, because I know that you can let them hands go.
Yeah, because if you seen it on my page, like when people come on my page, I let their hands go unabashed, and they just catch all the bars. But since we on the group page, I thought about y'all, because a lot of y'all work in professional settings, and some of the stuff that I might say might get y'all ate up. So I love y'all. You know what I mean? That was she only caught one hand because of y'all. I only took one hand away though,
but that's what she get. But that's what she gets though, because and that's the difference, right? We get trolled all the time, but our page is called By the Hood. Now you can make an argument, but we're called the Black Wealth Project. Like, it says Black Wealth in the title. Like, what are you doing?
Why are you here?
Thanks.
Sean got it. He said Corey stays on go. Yes, he does. I call him Bruce Banner. I call Corey Bruce Banner. He's the Black Bruce Banner. He stays in.
Yeah, I do stay on go.
Oh, did we lose Courtney? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah, Courtney, get that. She getting that bread. She getting that chicken, man.
Yeah. I ain't mad at her.
He eating chicken sandwiches.
So listen, what was the Black Magic event of the week? Did anybody see anything that was really dope or awesome?
Man, this is a tough week.
I saw something that was trash. No.
Yeah, it was, yeah. This week was kind of, because it was a lot of symbolism out there, and I fell for it last week with the Rizzo statue. But then they've been tearing down statues all over the place, and it's symbolic because there's no policy behind that. Like, I appreciate these corporations cutting these checks, so I'm gonna say that is the black, the black magic moment. Cut them checks, man.
I saw one thing that was kind of funny, and it goes back to Black Twitter because I do spend a lot of time on Twitter. And for those watching, you see my at name right here in my name. But everything going on in South Philly with them protecting this Columbus statue. So, and I'm pretty sure you guys saw what's going on in South Philly, right?
Yep, I did.
Yeah,
a whole gang outside, and the police are letting them do it. With open carry weapons.
What's hilarious to me is
nobody even knew it was there. They just up there alone. Like, oh damn!
I had no idea. I had no idea it was there. But the funniest thing is because Black Twitter is so creative and beautiful. Someone they were talking about them, and they gave him a nickname. It was #Gravy Seals. They said, They said, look at all these Italians down south fully protecting the statue. Nobody knew was there. They got the gravy seals out there with their weapons. So I thought that was kind of black magic.
Oh, absolutely.
That's hilarious.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Also, to keep in real fast, as to keep it like to our Black Wealth Project. So George Floyd's daughter, somehow Barbara Streisand was trying to do something good for her. Did you see what she did for George Floyd's daughter?
No, I didn't see that.
She bought a Disney stock.
She gave her stock in Disney. And I didn't to give the amount, but she made her a shareholder in Disney. That was her way of trying to help his daughter by making her a shareholder. So it's kind of related to, Black Wealth.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, super dope.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that at all.
Real dope.
We appreciate allies when they do ally stuff.
When they do real allies.
Yeah, made her a shareholder. Yeah, so
yeah, we can't even say Barbara Streisand made that community.
Yeah, huh? I can't tell you anything about. I'm not really familiar with her body of work per se, so I can't tell you anything about Barbara Streisand other than if I know who Barbara Streisand is, but I'm not really a fan of her body of work. But I thought that was interesting though. So that goes in line with the whole Black Wealth. Make her a shareholder at a young age. Yep. Let that thing grow, whatever she got her. But just want to put that story out there.
Man, them dividends is gonna be sweet.
If they pay, they cut the dividends, and I only know that because I'm also a Disney shareholder. They cut them dividends the last time we were supposed to get them, but
they're gonna come back.
I understand why.
They're gonna come back.
They got to bring them dividends back, man.
Yeah.
I need that.
All right, folks. As we close out, I want to thank everybody for watching. But again, as we close out, everybody, what do you guys need help with, support with? And I'm gonna start this off with Tracy. What you got for me, Tracy?
As always, I always just like to preach home ownership. If you need help, if you're looking to buy your first home, or if you're looking to sell your first home, or if you're looking to buy investment properties, please reach out to me, because that is all I've focused on when it comes to wealth, is investing and purchasing real estate. That is my niche.
There you go.
Let me know what you need. realestatetracy.com.
All right.
You got to tell the people to check you out on HGTV.
Oh, yes, I forgot.
You're on HGTV?
Yeah, I did an episode of House Hunters. I feel like it was 2017 at this point, but it's still active. It's on their website. You kind of got to Google it because it was like Philadelphia, Ohio transplants to Philadelphia was the episode.
Hey, Jimmy, we got to do our thing on that one. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Malik, what you got? How do you need help? Malik.
All right. First and foremost, if anybody is listening from North Carolina, wants to Salem area in particular, I need a contractor. So if you know any contractors, any subcontractors, send me a DM. Secondly, can somebody please come get the fireworks? These guys have been going ham for the past 2 weeks, every day and every night with these fireworks.
Yeah, the fireworks.
Man, we get these fireworks. That's it.
All right.
You're
Corey. How can we help you?
You can go to bodyhooduniversity.com. Me and my partner Jim over here, we created some content around learning about long-term investing. And if you want to learn about the options game, we have a coupon code with another black business that we partner with called Discover Your Options, and we can show you the options game also. Um, and so if you really want to get into the game, and you don't know anything about it, or you already know about long-term investing and you want to get in the options game, come check us out at BotherhoodUniversity.com and grab up and then get some personal interaction with myself and Jim.
All right, Jimmy, what you got? What you need help with?
Yo, I want everybody to go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuyTheHood, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share it with your family and friends. We have a lot of information. We sit down with black entrepreneurs from all walks of life, black community activists, and just have conversations, short conversations. So our podcast is Buy the Hood. But go to youtube.com/BuyTheHood. And if anybody knows anyone that's bought land in Ghana, please get in touch with me, because I want to buy a piece of land in Ghana. Actually, something I'm thinking about moving there in the future. But I want to talk to someone who's actually done it. I see all the things online about going home and this and stuff. I want to talk to someone who's actually done it. So if anybody knows anyone that's actually went through the process of building or buying any land in Ghana, just get in touch with me. That's it.
That's dope. That's dope. All right, everyone, just real quick, just wanted to say Nadia said she enjoyed the meeting this evening. Yes, it is once a week, every Sunday at 7 p.m. I want to say I appreciate everybody.
We appreciate that.
I want to say I appreciate everybody that joined us this evening. Great discussion, great conversation. We'll be back next Sunday at 7 p.m. Listen, you can help me out by following my YouTube page, which is YouTube.com/Camari Ellis. And you can also help us all by following our YouTube page on YouTube, which is the Black Wealth Project, as always. But okay, so the DA caught my attention again. It says, "Great, do you all score on opportunity zones?" That's a great question. I don't know that we do, but I'm sure we can figure something out and find somebody reputable.
Absolutely.
We have a whole PowerPoint presentation that we can send to her or present on this platform that is easily breaks it down.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
We can do that.
So,
we can do that.
Again, everybody, next Sunday, same Black Wealth station, same Black Wealth time, 7 p.m. next Sunday. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate it.
Peace.